Welcome to the Be That Healing Girl podcast. And today we're going to talk about 3 reasons why your anxious attachment isn't healing. So, this is if you have anxious attachment and you feel relationship anxiety, you are overthinking, you are overanalyzing every little move, you're second guessing the text you send, you're second guessing the relationship even sometimes, and you are doing all the things. You are hot girl walking, you are journal prompting, you might even have been in therapy or are in therapy, and you're doing all the things and nothing's really changing. And that was me. I totally get that, and my clients have too, and I want to share why it's probably not making a difference, or if it is, it's changing small things, but it's not really making you feel consistently good over time. And if you're new here, my name is Claire. I'm a relationship coach, and I love helping high performing, high achieving girlies. I'm talking doctors, lawyers. I've got physical therapists, people that maybe have some letters behind their name. Maybe you're an academic and you have lots of higher education. Maybe you are a corporate girly. Maybe you're getting that C-suite, that corner office in New York. And it doesn't really matter how you are high achieving or high performing, you are still highly anxious in your relationship. You are just basically a hot overthinking mess. And if that is you, then you're in the right spot. Please just know that I've got your back. And if you're enjoying this episode or any other episode, hitting the 5 stars on Apple or Spotify really makes a difference. It keeps this podcast free, and it really also just gives me a high five. I'm just talking to a camera here, so thanks for doing that. It takes 2 seconds. And a little life update if you're watching on YouTube. Check out the new fit. One thing that I have realized that I've been doing unconsciously, and I'm just realizing I probably need to speak more about it, is how I create my life, my daily habits, my daily rituals, so that I support and create that earned secure attachment on a regular basis. I think it's the common misconception is that, oh, well, I feel better and it's going to stay that way. This is exactly the problem when we think, oh, I have the fitness that I want, I'm just going to stop working out. That's not how it works, okay? Anxious attachment and relationship anxiety don't work that way. So I build in how to create that secure attachment in my life. And one of those things truly is creating a habit of even my clothing and how I get dressed. And this is not sponsored yet, but this is my outfit from Newly, and it's dresser romper. I don't know how to say it, but if you look on YouTube, and I'll probably post it on stories, but this is one cool way that I have experimented with making the way I dress more self-expressive. Now, I'm definitely not also the kind of person that's like buy and consume more. That's definitely not the vibe here. But what I first of all highly support making your wardrobe easy to figure out. So if you spend a lot of brain space or brain energy on trying to figure out what to wear, that actually makes your nervous system, the more load that you have mentally, the more easily you're going to slip into anxious patterns. So this cool outfit is from Newly that I'm renting, and one thing that I've gotten down packed is I have a great wardrobe that I just know things match. And what I love about this is that I get to try on different things. I'm going to a baby shower tomorrow, and I'm going to a wedding next week. And I am so excited about it because I get to spend what I feel is a very nominal amount of money, $99 a month, to rent out clothes. So it's pretty awesome. Can't wait to talk more about it. So far, I'm liking it, like the options, and yeah, don't have to worry about going out and finding a dress because I just get to rent it. Pretty awesome. So that's my little update, and let's get into it. So, why is your anxious attachment not healing? All right. And the first thing that I want to say is a lot of times I hear in my community or when my one-on-one clients start to work with me is that they are really working hard. And also if you're listening, I guarantee that you are doing work. That's without a doubt. I guarantee that's probably happening. And that, my friends, is part of the problem, because the more that you engage or the more that you use this mentality that I have to really do work, I have to get my hands in there, that engagement, that type of wrestle with the the negative is actually kind of making it worse. It's kind of like those finger traps that you try to pull and your finger only gets more stuck. That's the same kind of concept. The more you wrestle and engage with the negativity, the more that you're actually going to make it worse. It's almost like if you had some sort of drinking problem and you're literally going to places that encourage drinking. That's only going to make the thing that is making you uncomfortable, the dis-ease, you feel dis at ease, it's going to make you feel that way. So the first thing that I'm going to say is you are wrestling with it. You are engaging with it from a point of, I hate to say conflict, but really you're engaging in healing in that way. And because you're doing it in that way, it's making it actually worse. All right. I guarantee you feel that way. The second reason why your anxious attachment and your anxiety, the overthinking, is not getting better is because healing is not just linear. Okay. And so I feel this ties highly with if you are an overachiever, high achiever, high performer, right? So a lot of times you think, okay, I get good grades, I go to school, I get good grades at school, I get into the residency, I get, blah, 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 blah. And a lot of times if you have this skill, which is it's a real skill to be able to achieve in that way. Don't confuse this with me cutting you down, but healing is not linear. And when we approach healing in a linear process, if I do this, if I check this off, if okay, I did the hot girl walk, I did the meditation. If you approach healing in that sort of linear fashion, that's part of the problem, right? Healing is not linear. I actually feel healing is cyclical, circular, and like it's like a carousel or a spiral staircase. So if you are engaging with healing in a linear fashion, that's going to make your healing process hard. It's going to make it really difficult because healing is not linear. The third thing that is probably making your healing of anxious attachment not so great is you are very busy. You guaranteed you have a very full schedule. And a lot of times, as high achievers or high performers, because you're busy, okay, you get really hyper focused, right? If you are hyper focused on healing and you're like, okay, I'm just going to go, balls to the wall, all in, I'm going to go to yoga and do the meditation for an hour, like that type of approach and the hyper focus, it's coming from a place of performance. You're performing healing. And again, if you're a high achiever, you were reinforced for you. It was reinforced that you do things well, that you do things perfect, that you do the most amazing thing. And healing is not a performance. Okay, I will say that again. Healing is not a performance, it is a process. All right. So if you approach it where I did all the things, I checked the box and I did the walk and I did the meditation and all, if you treat it in that way versus a process, it's kind of like if you are planting a seed and you're kind of watching it grow. Growth is a process. But if you are there, like, you could overwater it, you could smother it, you're poking it, like you can actually take a process that is natural, that is organic, and because you think you have to perform healing, you are smothering it, you're overwatering, you're doing all these things, you're in a state of do versus being in a state of be. And when I work with one-on-one clients, when I work with in the Healing Girl Gang, so much, I'm going to say like 99.9% of it, because nothing's perfect, but so much of it and what I teach with one-on-one clients and with the Healing Girl Gang is that it is a process and it is also something that you can't force. If you try to treat your healing like a perfection, like I got to do it right, I got to do it perfect, instead of a process, you're going to have problems instead of treating it like a practice. So I was just thinking of a client of mine she in her past has been recently divorced. She was attracting a lot of emotionally unavailable people. And she's a high performer. She works in DC. She's got a big high level government job. And one thing that we've worked on, and she's literally attracted the guy of her dreams, I would even argue plus more. Like he is really above and beyond. He is showing up for her. And literally, one of the ways that we got there was in treating healing like a practice and a process, not a perfect. Say that 5 times fast. It is a practice, not a perfect, and it's a process. Okay, so that's one thing. And also, when I look at the Healing Girl Gang, the reason why I structure it where we do a deep dive every month in every topic that has to do with anxious attachment, there's overlap. When we go, for example, in one topic like self-trust, another might be self-soothing for the next month. There's things when you build self-trust that are necessary when you self-soothe, and when you self-soothe, there's things that happen when you self-trust. So when you start to approach your healing, like you're not going to get it all at once. That's just not how healing works, right? If you have broken a bone or anything, it's not like you go from, okay, I'm in PT, and then the next day you're fully healed. That's just not how it works. So I, again, recommend, if you are not making the progress, look at all these patterns and ways of being. Thinking that it has to be perfect and that has to be linear is a way of being. You really want to examine those pieces before you uh, evaluate and make decisions about how you want to heal. Okay. So I was also thinking about this piece that I have been kind of not obsessed with, but seen on the internet. And I think her name is Wizard Liz. And I kind of got into it, and I just realized that just listening to other kind of creators and what they were saying, and just in general, the voices that are kind of chiming in on this. And I thought about you guys, gals, and I think it's kind of important to bring it up because, yeah, I'll just get into it. So, Wizard Liz, if you look her up, I mean, she's an influencer. Obviously, she is gorgeous. She is on a journey, and she's just beautiful to look at. And she's the more that I've learned about this experience that she's going through, I've just think she's also beautiful on the inside. So one thing that I noticed, so the long story short, she met somebody, fell in love, and now she's pregnant. Okay. And she also just found out that he made a fake Snapchat and was trying to meet up with some girl. The girl said, "Oh my gosh, I think I know your partner," and basically exposed what was happening to this influencer, Wizard Liz. And it was so interesting because I definitely immediately had my own first initial thoughts when I saw this happening. But uh, basically, she's 4 months pregnant now, and he's cheated on her. And some of the language that I heard around people speaking about this was super interesting. And a lot of it was around, oh, you could look like her and be like her and still get cheated on. And she should have known, but da 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 da. Because, and I will say, how they met is very very suspicious. And so I just want to say that number one, I don't think it's good to blame somebody for their misfortune. I think that's horrible. This woman is pregnant. They broke up. Like, she left him. Good for her. Duh. And what I think is so interesting, and I was thinking of all of you as I was watching this kind of unfold, which is, you cannot control the external. If I were to say one of my big pillars and what I believe is that you cannot control the external. And there are people out there that are very clear, whether very clear in their actions, but are they conscious about it? Possibly. I don't know. We're not in their body, we're not in their mind. But there are people that are committed to misunderstanding you. There are people that are committed to taking advantage. And while we could walk around this planet worried about those people, you could definitely walk around the planet scared to death and looking around and freaked out. And why? That's part of life. There are people in life, even if you were perfect. And I think this is also going to hit a thread for some of you where even if you did, said, behaved all the right things, checked all the boxes, it doesn't matter that there are people just committed to not understanding you, that are committed to doing their own thing and maybe running you over in the process. And while that is an unfortunate truth and it happens, that is just, it's, I hate to say, it's part of life where we are faced with opportunities, we're faced with uh, chances to glean wisdom, to gain wisdom from these things. And what I also thought, and this is why I think this gal is seriously one of a kind, because she posted on her stories, and what she said was really cool. And in her stories, I think I will just read a little bit. So funny how my intuition was screaming at me in this video that she was sharing with her and the guy. Thank God for what I found out today. I've been through the worst in life. This is definitely not going to break me. Women, choose yourself and walk away from the things the first time. And then she also said, I will never create a fake narrative for social media. I will not preach something that I would not take advice myself. The guy decided to make a Snapchat, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, the girls reached out and told her. And I think the piece that really feels important is that my haters can go celebrate. Haha, so funny. I will always have the last laugh, and he lost everything and I gained everything. So I could go into more of the things that she said, but what I absolutely love about where she is taking her story, where she is moving forward, it's not even about him. She is moving forward for herself and maybe for her baby. I think she's gonna, proceed with everything. And I think that is just such an incredible stance around how she wants to live her life. That something bad did happen. It's horrible. That that again, bad things happen to everyone. And she is choosing to live her life fully and move forward and not make necessarily herself wrong, and also not spend any time or energy on this dude. Who cares? What an idiot. What a loser, right? And I just think that's so powerful. I think that's a lesson that we could all take, that she's not making herself wrong. She's not beating herself up. Oh, I should have known. And and I will also say though, I've all said this before in my videos, they moved very fast. They met randomly at an airport. I don't think they met randomly. I think he was probably stalking her, and they were together for 3 months and then they got engaged. So to me, I do think the learning lesson is slow down. There's you you will lose nothing if you slow down. And I also just kind of watching her in this process, she did not make herself wrong, and she's not spending any time, any energy about what he did and how he wronged her. She is getting really clear within herself, and I love that. I thought that was just a cool thing. My little 2 cents and hot take. And go down the rabbit hole, DM me with what you think. I think it's powerful. But and if you're in a place where you're making decisions, you're moving forward, you are healing, the best thing you can do is not make yourself wrong. Don't spend any time or energy around the other person. It's done. What are you going to do? And get really grounded and get really centered on yourself. So I think that was super dope. Okay. And we're going to close out with, of course, a question from the Healing Girl Gang. And if you don't know about the Healing Girl Gang, it's my community. I kind of talked about it before. We deep dive into a topic every single month. This month is about constant reassurance and how you can actually feel secure without needing that from a good partner. And reading energy, reading the vibes. But the way I structure the Healing Girl Gang is that it is, you get trainings, you are also getting implementation days, an action taker toolkit, and I'm just rolling this out, an overthinking detox. So every month as a community, as a group, we're going to be detoxing the overthinking, clear steps, clear rituals that you can do that are going to be easy to weave in. This is not like you have to spend another hour doing stuff. You're already doing these activities in your life. We're just adding a little detox to it. So super cool. So, and I love you. Please forgive me if I mess this up again. But Asin, Asin, love that you asked this question. I was in a relationship with an avoidant, and the constant lack of clarity triggered my anxiety. We've been in this exhausting push pull dynamic for a while now. I know he cares, he's shown it in his way, but every time my anxiety flares up, I end up pushing him away. I broke things off since I couldn't handle the uncertainty, but now we're reconnected. Now I'm wondering, why can't I just let things be and see how he shows up? And did I screw it up again? So I love that you're asking this question and you're in the gang. So next month, we're talking about self sabotage. And to me, this definitely, one piece that's standing out is you know that you pushed him away in some way. I believe. Did I read that? Yes. I end up when my anxiety flares up, I end up pushing him away. And so there is a lot around the anxious and avoidant dance, I call it. This is something that Craig and I used to, this was our deal. This was like our electric slide. We were doing this. Actually, that's not probably a good, this is our tango, right? We were dancing this, and not a cute, sexy, beautiful tango. This was the dance that was driving us both kind of crazy. And so next month, we're talking about self sabotage. But one thing that I just want to say around this dynamic, why can't I just let things be? And this is so deeply engaged with our subconscious patterns. And I really believe, and I have got some episodes on this. Again, we're talking about this in the Healing Girl Gang, but when we are in a place where we're in an insecure attachment, so anxious and avoidant are both categorized as insecure attachments. And the irony is that we unconsciously create the same comfort around our relationships again and again. And when I say comfort, I mean comfort zone. This push pull is comfortable. Now, comfortable does not mean pleasant. Let me say that again. Comfort in the comfort zone of feeling abandoned, and then we attract somebody who inevitably makes us feel abandoned, or I shouldn't say that, a person that triggers this fear of abandonment and reflects to us this fear of abandonment. That is the opportunity. And so for me, I thought, swear to you, I thought that, okay, when I figured out that I had anxious attachment, I was like, okay, solution, find somebody secure, find somebody secure. And I don't even know how many years I did that, but I realized even, and I messed up in my 20s, a good handful of very secure people, because I was self-sabotaging. I was blowing them up because I couldn't handle it. There was something inside me that needed to be healed. And so even though I was with secure attachment people, I was creating the dysfunction because I was not in a place where I could receive that. I couldn't receive secure love because I was in an insecure attachment, anxious attachment. So the reason why you are likely pushing him away is that there's a piece of you that is creating the exact fear that you are scared of. I know that sounds so wackadoodle, but I promise you, you are creating the same thing because it's comfortable. Now, again, comfortable isn't pleasant, right? So we have to get uncomfortable in learning, how do we move towards a secure attachment? How do we become so secure in ourselves? It doesn't matter if they're pulling away or distant or whatever. And one thing I will tell you is that when you learn how to be centered and grounded in yourself, I see this literally almost on a daily basis with Craig and I. The more grounded and centered I am in myself, the more that you work on identifying your self sabotage, the more you work on your self trust, the more it's like, I'm like, okay, I need a break. I need to, like, can you go work in the yard or something? It's so true. So we're going all through that in the Healing Girl Gang, and just know that this identifying that you play a part of it is part of healing. I'll say that again. You identifying that this is something that you do, is that awareness is the first step. Okay? So sending you lots of love. I'll see you in the gang, and take good care of yourselves. Be gentle. Mwah.